Wow.
today. Oh yeah,
Today. Oh my goodness. It's like a roller coaster every single week.
it's riding it blindfolded, my friend. But you're still on it. Like I don't want to see it. You're still on it. Well, tell me I'm wrong.
No, you're not wrong. I mean, I guess one of the benefits with with an actual roller coaster is that you paid for the thrill. But I guess in this case, we've all paid for this thrill that we're going through.
Um, yeah, we're all taking the ride in one way or the other. We're all taking a ride.
Yes,
We take. Doesn't matter what you want to do. I'm afraid. Oh, I'm a seeker. We're going to be on a roller coaster, and no one. You can't pick up a picture. You can't test drive. You can't test ride this bad boy to figure out where it's going to go and where the turns and the blind spots and the loops and you have no idea.
I think what's really funny to me is there's nothing is certain at this point.
That's the to me that's the scary. You're right. That's the scary part for me because you our best instincts and our best knowledge still leave us lacking.
It's only an educated guess.
Okay, well, see, in my experience, there's a wag and a swag, and a wag is a wild blank guess, a wild guess, and a swag is a scientific wild a guess.
So we're
And
out here swagging away.
yeah, because even the smartest people in the industries either one can't agree or can't figure it out and have just decided that what I'm going to look at the lesser of the boll weevils, yeah, we boll. Pick your poison.
Pick your poison. So
And uh-huh.
let's start with the first piece of poison. Okay, the
Oh,
first dose, as you might
which
say.
piece is that again?
Right here it says as
Oh,
Russia pressures its war with Ukraine, here are 10 aerospace and defense stocks expected to rise up to 39%. Now,
mm-hmm,
what's interesting about this is on our podcast, maybe about 3 weeks ago, right?
mm-hmm.
We had a guest speaker on who told us about investing in certain manufacturers of aircrafts.
Oh, yeah, right. That's right.
So to some people, this may not be a surprise. If you guys have listened to that podcast, if you have not listened to the podcast, please go right ahead and do so. Um, it's it's good. I mean, it's a lot of great insights because Hank, as you and I both know, um, when wars take place, there are entities that make a lot more money during wartime
Absolutely.
than outside of it. Yeah,
And they pack it on. Their goods or services have no limit as to what the price is going to be. There's no cost control.
absolutely. And to go along with that, speaking of cost control, what are we noticing right now when it comes to matters at the pump?
Ah man, it's some of it is real, Leland, and I think, and some of it is artificial because some of the oil companies have sort of disconnected their wagon from Russia. But when 70% of the petroleum products for Europe
Yeah,
comes from Russia, um, all of the other petroleum producing countries are trying to figure out how do they step up production. But it's not just the production. Now you've got to get it to market to refine it and do all of that other stuff.
mhm,
And there's a limited capacity for for refining stuff. Okay,
yep,
so it ends up being a double-edged sword. You want to do. You think you can do certain things, But when it's all said and done, you can't. You know, it's like the human body. There are certain organs you can live without, but you don't know which ones to choose to tell a doctor take this one out because this, I don't think I'm gonna need this one. You know, how many eyes do you need? Oh, you can make it with one. You know,
Need?
yeah. This is now need versus want. You
Oh my.
know, now and it might that and all what I'm saying might sound like ooh macabre, but think about it. If you had to lose an arm or a leg, which would you choose?
Neither.
Well, again, you one's got to go, you
Oh,
know. And then it's the idea that if you had to lose, um, hearing or sight, which, which which those are tough decisions,
those are
and
very.
those are emotional decisions, you know.
Tell you. That's where we are, though. I mean, at this point, so we can't do anything necessarily with what's going on right now.
Hmm.
All that we can do that's within our hands grasp
Hmm.
is for most people is to pivot or to find another way where you can be prosperous throughout. Because if you think about it, for most Americans, they've dealt with illness, they dealt with COVID or the economic impact of COVID. They have
Hmm.
dealt with inflation, and now here they are dealing with the pump issue, and now here they are dealing with friends and family in Ukraine and Russia.
Well, um, you said there's nothing that we can do about it. I
Outside,
would
yeah,
say I would say for the average person, there's nothing we can do about it. And this may not make any sense to some folk, but I have an article in front of me, and it says billionaires dumping stocks at a record pace, and it's like one guy dumped 12 billion with a B dollars worth of shares. Somebody else, someone else is bought I don't know how many millions. I think he owns 91 million shares of a particular company.
hmm
Now, obviously, he might have 1% of that whole stock portfolio.
right.
But when a billionaire, a multi-billionaire, I think, speaks about what he or she is doing on the economic landscape, it has a direct consequence to what you and I do with table issues.
hmm
Okay.
It
Because
does.
they can move from something that they know is going to be negatively impacted by the war, and then they put their money into the war machine.
Okay. Well, so I didn't know that you were going to take it that far, but so because of that, I want to add something. Um,
Ooh,
One
crypto.
of the things that goes up during wartime are commodities, right? The
Correct.
price for commodities, and that's what we're seeing with gas prices, right? Man, there was a card game, and it was an economic card game, and it was spot on because it would tell you based on economic ish or based on social climate, it would tell you what the economic impact would be. I'll find that card game,
Hmm.
but I mean, really, if you had that card game, you probably wouldn't even need a degree in finance or economics because the card game was really spot on, right?
Yeah.
So okay, before the war commenced, all right,
Hmm.
um, there was this billionaire named Bill Gates who
I
absolutely,
know the name.
yeah, I mean, great guy, astute, pioneer when it came to computer, or at least for Microsoft Word, and he said, "Hey, you know what? Um, I think we're going to go ahead and buy a lot of farmland. We want to buy a lot of farmland. We want to get more into the agricultural business.
Hmm.
Want to get into the genetics of it. want to get into the crops of it, et cetera, et cetera.
Mhm.
And then what happened was less than 6 months or so, inflation hit where grocery store prices, in some cases, doubled. Right, for certain items, it doubled.
Right.
It's like, man, that was really good timing because definitely didn't see that coming. I mean, that I feel like that would have only happened if a war was about to happen, and then 6 months later, or less than 6 months later, a war commenced. It's like, doggone, that's really good timing right there. So I'm bringing this up to say, going back to what you're saying with the stocks and the dumping and things like that. Um, these might be indicators to pay closer attention to others,
Mhm.
in those high positions. So that's all. That's the hint that I'm giving for today, and I leave it.
Okay,
I'll leave
that's right. Well, we were talking about ignorance and bliss and things of that sort. And I think because we're creatures of habit, we go to work. Typically, we go to work, we come home, and our routine starts the moment we walk in the door.
Right.
Some people walk in and they grab a drink, they grab a beverage, and some read the paper, some do whatever. They go to their favorite TV show and they will fall asleep with the TV watching them.
Yeah.
And they'll get up the next morning and they'll go, and the world is passing them by. And they're letting other people determine how they live and where they live.
Correct.
Okay? So I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna make a bold statement. If you are an employee, your employer is determining what you eat, what you wear, where you live, where you vacation, how long you vacation, what you drive. Okay? It determines what kind of investments you can make. And I know you're looking at me like I'm crazy. I want you to think about what I just said. And if I am half right, you need to change what it is that you're doing. Okay? Because you can control that. So you may have some investments and you've got your financial planner or your investment broker, or they are determining where your money goes, what you are invested in, and for how long you are invested in whatever that is. But yet you think you're in control. Are you really? Who controls your 401k plan? Who controls your retirement plan if you have one?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that for people to be concerned. I want them to be informed and aware,
Yeah.
because there's an old adage that if we know better, we will do better.
Mm,
I took us off
yeah.
track. I apologize. You
No, that's. I mean, honestly, Hank, it's not really off track because, and I've said this multiple times, and I think it's important that I say it again.
please.
We cannot control what another country does. We cannot control how an opposing country reacts.
Mhm.
We cannot control whether or not our commander in chief chooses to uh, participate in a war. We really can't. I mean, you guys, hey, we cannot control that.
But we have limited checks and balances on some of that though. But go ahead. Limited.
Limited,
Yeah.
limited.
Okay.
Okay, limited. Yeah. So we could delay, but yeah. So ultimately, control, no, we can't. Um, and all I'm saying is there are a lot of things as humans, as parents, as sons, as daughters, as wives, as husbands, that are within our control.
Mm,
Excuse me, there are a lot of things that are not within our control.
correct.
There are less things that are in our control.
And they
So
have the greater impact.
and they have the greater immediate impact.
Hmm.
So it's best to control the things that are within your arms, that are in arm's length. It's best to control things that are within your hands reach, right?
Right.
So there is nothing wrong with having an employer. There is risk in being solely dependent on that employer. There's
Correct.
nothing wrong with investing in the stock market. There is risk in only investing in the stock market. So what we want you guys to understand, and all this ties in because if you're losing in the market right now, I think we just saw that the Dow
Hmm.
is down 582 points right now.
Yeah.
Nasdaq's down
What do you mean?
200
That's as of today?
as of this very moment right
Wow. It
now.
it
S&P's down 79 points, right?
um
Well,
mhm. Mhm.
the average person cannot control the S&P losing money right now.
Nope.
Nope, nothing they can do.
Nothing.
What the average person can't control is might say, okay, well, listen, what is near? Where are the opportunities?
Mhm.
And how quickly can I pivot? Because I don't have to put everything into one basket, but how quickly can I pivot to at least have some type of protection, or at least give myself some type of leeway or uh, uh, sunlight or light at the
Mhm.
end of the tunnel, basically. What can I
Mhm.
do? Right?
Mhm.
Cool. So here we are, and everyone's noticing that they're seeing red in the stock market. I'm going to give you guys a few opportunities if you still want to be in the stock market, and then we're going to tell you guys about opportunities that are available outside of the stock market. So
Tell
take
me
those.
more, sir. Please tell me more.
So you guys opportunities inside the stock market, and then we'll talk about opportunities outside the stock market. Okay.
Okay.
So Costco's gas right now is always is going to be cheaper, right? As we all know, you're going to see more people just because of the gas hikes. You're going to see more people begin to join Costco just for the gas. Okay, I know
Mhm.
that sounds really silly, but trust me, if it's someone who's contemplating paying $150 at the pump versus going to Costco and maybe saving $60 at the pump, they're going to contemplate to themselves and say, okay, well, the annual membership, it might be 20 or $40. I get this membership one time. I can always come back for gas.
Mhm.
If enough people have that mindset, what do you think will happen to Costco's prices? Or not prices, excuse me, their stock price.
The stock price is gonna go up.
It's going to go up.
That's it.
Now, check this out. If Russia declares war against other countries or surrounding countries or UN nation or UN, right, UN participating countries,
Mhm.
you're going to see people panic, much like they did during the pandemic. And what did people do when they began to panic?
Hoard it. They started to hoard.
And where will people go to buy things in bulk?
Costco,
Costco, J,
Sam's, and others depending on the part of the country. Yep, in bulk.
absolutely, right?
And then there are shortages.
Then there'll be shortages, right?
Oh,
So, hey, if you're someone who wants to be a true opportunist, you're probably hoarding all of the toilet paper that you are anticipating. To say, listen, I paid $10 for that roll right now.
man,
That's how bad this
yeah.
household rolls. I paid $10 per roll.
Hmm.
Okay, so think about this, and that was I just gave you guys the hint of Costco. That was just one company in the stock market. You take that same mindset, all right, and you can probably just mirror. A lot of economics is basically mirroring what has happened before. So you can
Correct.
look at the fear tactic and what people did, right?
Hmm.
Probably mirror that to believe there's gonna be similar purchasing behavior if
Hmm.
something similar happens. Okay, so think about all those stores that you and your
Hmm.
family went to, and things were expensive or things were out of stock, right? Et cetera, et cetera. Think about that. then
Hmm.
think about the fact that prices, right? As we all know, the more demand, what they do, they normally increase the price.
That's right.
So think about the manufacturers of those companies, right? You can look at international paper, for example. They may have to print more or have more reams or more rolls of toilet paper, as an example. Another company's on the stock exchange. What are you gonna say, Hank?
No, um I don't remember because I was letting you talk, my brother. Forgive me. I'm just listening to what you're saying, and just and just thinking that no matter how much we think we're going to, we know this and plan and prepare for
Hmm.
this. This the process is going so fast that you either get caught up
Come
or
on,
left out, and there's nothing you can do about it.
there's nothing you can do about it.
You
I
know,
mean, for example, we were told about investing in companies like Lockheed Martin, et cetera, almost a month ago.
we
And look
there
how quickly, boom, boom.
and Boeing
Yep, and Boeing as well. Absolutely.
and Northrop,
Norfolk. And
GE,
gas and
yeah,
crude oil.
yeah, well, GE, Rolls, everything that's building these big engines
Yeah.
for war machines.
And look at how quickly those things have escalated. That
Hmm.
normally doesn't happen that quickly.
No, it doesn't.
It does not.
Well,
It doesn't.
I think part of it is that we live in a digital age. Okay. And yesteryear, it would take months, weeks, months for you to know or hear about something. Now you hear about it the same day,
The same
within
day.
almost in the same hour.
In in the moments that you and I have been speaking, the Dow has dropped an additional 200 points.
How much did Bitcoin drop? Crypto.
Well, crypto, for some odd reason, normally does the opposite, but not as strong as a stance.
Well, but Bitcoin was down 17, almost 18 points on Friday.
Yeah, it is now up uh, basically less than a percent right now. It's up
Okay.
less than a percent. But so, boom, those are the opportunities with stocks, right?
Hmm.
There they go. Do your own research, right? If you want to reach out to an advisor, all that good stuff, do it.
Hmm.
Talk to your attorneys, CPAs, whoever else you want to reach out to. But those are opportunities. You can look at what happened in the market
Hmm.
before COVID, and once COVID became a serious thing and people believed it. See what people
Well,
purchased.
some people believed it.
Some people still don't believe it, and
Yeah.
so and
No, I'm just saying.
no, yeah, it's true, it's true.
You
And
know.
so you could possibly model after that same mindset now, or same trend. Now let's talk about things that are available outside the stock market, because you know what? Here's what I want everyone to know. If you buy Bitcoin tonight, today, whatever, cool. You buy Lockheed Martin, Exxon Mobil, whatever today, cool. Go for it. The only issue is you can't control what happens there.
Mm,
You
that's
can't
true.
control what happens there. If the CEO or executive from one of those companies makes a crazy tweet and your stock,
Are you
you
talking about who I think you're talking about?
you
I'm
you have
not
no
gonna say
control.
it. I'm not. We're not saying.
All you could do is maybe hit the spam button on that person's tweet so that Twitter removes it, before others see it, right? But you really
Hmm.
can't control anything about it. Now, if you choose to purchase real estate, you choose to buy a business, a small business,
Hmm.
you have more control. All right. If you choose to become a private lender
Hmm.
using your own 401k or your own IRA, you
Hmm.
have more control over that. All right. You're able to have a hard asset as collateral. If something does happen, you can take that asset back. All right. These
Plus
are
that, plus that asset will create real money on an ongoing basis rather than sitting out there in someone's vault. Okay, just reacting to the whims, true whims of the economy. And Leland, I think you and I talked about this some time ago. Businesses in real estate are basically, they're considered inflation proof and
Hmm.
recession proof.
Hmm.
And we won't get into the whys of that. But I think as people peel back layers, they'll understand that, wait a minute, I invested in an asset, it's going to pay me assets. My asset is going to appreciate.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I'm going to have a heck of a lot more than I started. But if on Friday, if you bought, on Thursday, if you bought Bitcoin for, say, 40,000 a coin,
Oh man.
on
Yeah.
Friday, you lost 17% of that investment.
Yeah.
And I would say for that 40,000, for that 40,000, you could buy a piece of real estate that will pay you the rest of your life if you
Okay.
choose.
I mean, you really can. You really can. Not to mention, you would also receive tax advantages and tax benefits.
And should you die, depending on how you arrange your affairs, that piece of real estate could pay your family for a long time after you have pulled the light switch.
Absolutely. Now, here's something that's interesting.
Hmm.
I can hear someone say, "Well, you know what, Leland? I think Bitcoin at 40,000 a coin. That's already too high for me. I'm thinking
Yes.
about around 20, $30,000.
Hmm.
And you know what I would say? You can still do what we're talking about with that amount of money.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
As a matter of fact, we had a live event a couple weeks ago where we showed and actually went through actual transactions on a live Zoom training, showing
Hmm.
people how they can use different techniques when it comes to purchasing real estate
Hmm.
that doesn't require you to have 20, not even in many cases, not even 10 or even $5,000
Now that
of your
sounds unreal.
it does, but it's true. It's all true.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
these are different things that okay. Let, can we all agree that all of us are limited in what we know?
Yes.
Can we all agree that there are other people who collectively know more than what one individual knows?
A group, yes. A team, yes.
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay.
But
I get.
in order to have access to that, you have to be a part of that group, that team, that circle.
Hmm.
It's kind of the same way where someone wants to have a financial advisor, for example. They want to have a financial advisor before they buy stock, and that's fine, right? And that person is trusting their financial advisor because they work for a brokerage. That person is under the impression that that financial advisor is someone who studies the market relentlessly every single day, right? On and on and on and on. What's interesting is if you know that you're investing in an asset that has little to no benefits when it comes to wealth accumulation, but you're willing to partner up or join a team, right, to help you along your financial journey. Why wouldn't you do the same when it comes to real estate? When it comes
Mm,
to buying a business? When it comes to
mm.
investing the IRA, the 401k, self-directed funds? Because those have more tax benefits.
You, Leland, that's a powerful example, a powerful statement. And I was just sitting here thinking about it. I said because over the years, as we started to accumulate some wealth, we went to a financial planner, and I'm not knocking financial planners because we thought that as reasonably affluent people, that's what we should do. We should find somebody, a financial advisor, financial planner, and that organization would look at, talk with us, determine what it is that we wanted, and then lay out a plan for us. And it says, Hank, if you and your wife want to get here by the age of 60, then this is what you need to start saving right now. But if you can't afford that, how much can you afford? And we said for right now, we'd like to start here, and then we will let that grow based on. And he said, okay. Now, to this day, I don't know other than mutual funds and buying some insurance and some, and I don't think we did bonds. I think it was just mutual funds, regular stock, and some insurance.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know what the mutual fund invested in. I don't know what my employer 401k plan invested in. I just know I couldn't touch it.
Yeah, you can't touch it.
Okay. I could roll it over. I could do all of this other stuff, but I had to let it ride. So with what I think I heard you say is that with real estate, you don't have to let it ride. If you decide that you want to sell it, you have an appreciated value of that asset that allows you to use that money to buy what?
To buy more assets.
Oh man.
To buy more assets. It's
At a reduced tax value.
at a reduced tax value. Absolutely.
Man.
Absolutely. And this Thursday, we're having a live event, another live training event. So if you have any questions, any comments, please come with your questions. We will answer them live via Zoom. We'll give you a chance to even speak as well if you want to clarify your questions. And what we're going to discuss is we're actually going to discuss another economic impact of the coronavirus. So,
Okay.
because of the coronavirus, the United States government via HUD, housing, right? They have chosen
Mm-hmm.
to delay foreclosures an additional 180 days.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what that does is because in the United States, every state has different jurisdictions and laws, and so when it comes to foreclosures, that window of time it differs. So you have some that are judicial states, others that are non-judicial states. So that means that a foreclosure process can be as short as 90 days. It also means that a foreclosure process could be as long as 12 months, so an entire year. Okay. What this does for individuals who are looking to invest, um, using creativity with $1,000, maybe $2,000, maybe $5,000. It gives them the ability to negotiate a deal with the homeowner who is facing foreclosure. We call it pre-foreclosure. So they haven't been foreclosed on yet, but they have received notices or letters from their banking institution that has notified them and said, "Hey, you're behind on your payments. We have delayed your payments because of COVID. Because you are behind, we want you to either uh, pay in full or get your mortgage caught back up." And what you could do is that you yourself could actually pay the mortgage up, and then in exchange work out a deal to where the deed is no longer the name of the homeowner.
Mm.
So now you have gained an asset. You gain an asset that you can now lease out to someone else. So now you have a physical asset. You have equity in an asset. You also have an asset that will pay you money monthly,
Return on your investment.
your investment, or who knows, maybe you'll choose to, instead of leasing that property out to a individual or a family, maybe you want to use Airbnb. Maybe now you're getting paid once a week, or maybe even twice a week, depending if you're doing
Mm.
Airbnb and Verbo, right? There are other little small short-term rental websites you can use. So now you're earning money and you've invested $1,000. But what if Hank? What if, just hypothetically,
Mm.
what if you find someone, they agree to everything, the homeowner agrees to everything, but they're behind $5,000 and you only have $1 to your name? Now what happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
You could still take that opportunity and present it to another investor. You could take that opportunity and present it to someone else who's looking for a home. And maybe there's a land contract, maybe there is an option agreement, maybe there's a lease option agreement that is signed where this future purchaser or a future homeowner agrees, "Hey, listen, I'm willing to put $10,000 down. I'm willing to put $10,000 as an option money
Mhm.
in exchange for
Mhm.
that property. And
Mhm.
now you pay that 5,000 to the bank that's needed to catch that mortgage up,
Mhm.
and now you're able to pocket an additional $5,000,
Oh,
and now you
please.
have an asset. You still have an asset that pays you monthly, and the asset that has equity. You're able to get three things done just by having the right targeting and having the right knowledge and execution. Okay, so that's something that someone can do within their arm's length, regardless of what's going on with Bitcoin, regardless of what's going on with oil prices, regardless of what's going on in the stock market. That still gives you the ability to create a portfolio, still gives you
Mhm.
the ability to have tax advantages, and it still gives you the ability to have ownership. And you can do all these things without having to run your credit. You can do all these things without having to um, qualify for a mortgage.
Wow.
You can do all these things without having to put someone else in a bad situation. You can still
So,
deal.
if I'm sorry, because I'm getting excited on possibilities. So, if someone has been thinking about what could I do, how might I do X, Y, Z, you, what I'm hearing is you've laid out an option, an opportunity that's available to anyone who's willing to take advantage of that opportunity. So, so suppose somebody wanted to explore what you just said to them further. Do they have to wait until Thursday?
No, absolutely not. So that's a great question. If you want to learn more about that, all you simply have to do is just schedule time on our calendar. That is it. It won't cost you anything. It will cost you the investment of your time. So we'll answer any questions that you have,
Hmm.
but it will not require your money. So we're not charging you to speak with you. You can come ask questions. It'll be about a 10 or 15-minute phone call, and that's it. If you want to wait until Thursday, which is going to be an awesome treat, we're going to show you all not only how to find these opportunities, but also how to position yourself differently in the market so that when you find people that are in that type of situation, which, by the way,
Hmm.
there's not a shortage of people. Okay. Matter of fact, let's see. I'm just going to Google it live, right?
Hmm. Leland, do guys like Buffett and Gates and Bezos and Dell, do those guys own real estate?
Absolutely. I want to. So there's something. There's something that. Um, let me say this, and this is really important, and this is something that oftentimes bothers me. So real quick, um, so I told you guys I was googling this live. This is from Harvard University. So if you don't believe it, then blame Harvard, right? Um, Harvard is saying there are at least, and this is actually back in mid 2021, at least 2 million homeowners are behind on their mortgages. So there's no shortage of this. All right. Then it says here that 8 million households face foreclosure or eviction. Right. So it's between 2 million to 8 million. Okay.
Or
That's what we
more.
or more. Right. Because again,
Hmm.
this was June of 2021. Okay.
Hmm.
This was June 2021. The HUD has made an extension of 180 days, right?
Hmm.
They made that extension of February of 2022. Okay,
Hmm.
so either they're in deferment, or they're in forbearance, or they're just behind. Either or, the options are kind of the same, right? Unfortunately. Now, Hank, you had a great question, which was, hey, do these other people own investment real estate?
You still there?
Yep, I'm still here. So
Oh,
the
okay.
the answer is yes. Others do own investment real estate, but I want to put this caveat there real quick. Most of the multi-millionaires and multi-billionaires own real estate because they understand the huge tax benefits
Oh,
of that asset class.
oh.
And I remember early on, people would say, or someone would tell me, hey, I'm getting in real estate because I know that all the wealthy people are in real estate. And it's like, yes, they're in real estate, but they got into real estate because they had an existing asset that was producing money or enough money and so much money to where they needed to offset those liabilities. And therefore, they purchased real estate because of that. But I don't want people to get confused and say, hey, I'm getting into real estate because real estate is going to make me wealthy. And I'll say this:
Hmm. Hmm.
average home right now in America is hovering around 300 to maybe $325,000. All right. So yeah, you buy if you own, let's just say, four properties, you're already over a million as far as asset values, right?
Hmm.
You get
Hmm.
that, and that's not hard to do, and that's something that we can help you with. However, having other alternative assets such as owning businesses and owning small businesses, that coupled with real estate, that is where the true wealth is. And that's where the
Hmm.
true wealth is based on what the IRS has written in the tax code. So if you're doing it any other way, you're risking losing 30, 40, 50, maybe even 60% of your wealth to taxes or to taxation just because you don't have those two things coupled together. You have to have you have to have a profitable business. You have to have income from that business. You have different tax write-offs from all those expenses and operating expenses for that business. And then,
Hmm.
then you're able to take some of that profit and then go ahead and invest in real estate. What will happen is that the IRS, when it's time to do your taxes, they're going to cut you a check
I like that. I like checks.
instead of you cutting them a check. But it has to be done in that combination. Investing in stocks, again, if someone wants to invest in stocks, that is fine. When you sell that stock, and you take that money out of that account, whatever that account is holding, your whatever that account is, your trading account, you withdraw that money. You're paying capital gains. Period.
Yeah, you can pay it.
You're paying capital gains. So if you're having to pay capital gains at such a hefty percentage, it's essentially like taking 10 steps forward and 3 steps back every single time.
Hmm. Hmm.
So that's where it gets really fishy, I guess, or really sticky.
What I think I've heard you. The conclusion that I've drawn is there are still amazing investment opportunities abound even under the cloud of war, even with fluctuation in the market, even with high inflation, even with all of those other things that we don't care about, don't think about, don't know about. But the point is that for people who want to change their lot in life, there's still room for you. Will you indulge me just for a minute?
Yes,
Because I
sir.
think I think this is important. Because I think a lot of people a number of people in the workforce, they would like to retire at, like, man, I don't want to wait until I'm 65 to retire. I want to enjoy life. Okay, here's the lady. She said, I retired at 50, went back to work at 53, and then a medical issue left me jobless. There's no such thing as a safe amount of money. And she went on to say, because again, at age 50, no Social Security as a safety net, and no Medicare at a safety net. So between 53 and 65, no money, or her money is gone down the tubes because she doesn't have good insurance. So you don't want to be in a position where everything that you had worked for and hoped for and dreamed of evaporates because there still is no safety net for you. So you don't want to be that person.
Man,
Okay.
Hank, you're on it. There's something that maybe we'll get to in another recording today or tomorrow, probably tomorrow. But there was an article that you and I were on a text group or someone sent this morning and talked about it was four different individuals with four different income types.
Oh man,
And
yeah, that
I
was
read
sick.
that article.
That was
Yeah,
sick.
I read that article and I want to share that with you all, but I want to in closing today, I want to touch on uh, this article that Hank's speaking in reference to, which is this.
That's the one.
Here's what's so interesting about all this. I need everyone to understand the basics of arithmetic, aka adding, like plus, minus, multiplication, division. Just those four things, all right? Plus, minus, multiplication, division. That's it. Okay. The average Americans, I want you guys to see this because I don't know if you guys see this. Average income in the United States. This is the median income, and the reason median average, right, which pops up is because more than likely the average is actually less than this, and this is why it's called. This is why they show you the median instead of the average. Okay, that's for
But still, that
now the
sucks.
average. Yeah, that's bad. Now the average household is actually about 53. Okay, that's a
Hmm.
household. Well, the household normally has four people, so just let that sink in, however you want. All right.
Hmm.
So if this is the average and people are so dependent on the stock market and the 401k, so much so that they've been told or they heard through the echo chambers by so and so and so and so that as long as they go ahead and invest their contribution match with their employer, that they'll be just fine. Let's do the mathematics now. Basic arithmetic. If you're earning, let's say you yourself are earning $50,000 a year. Great. That's the average household. All right. You're earning $50,000 a year. Now, 30% of that goes to Uncle Sam. Okay. That leaves you with 35%. So far, so good, right? I mean, excuse me, that leaves you with $35,000. So now
Hmm.
you're actually back to the same number. I don't know if you guys recognize that or not. And I don't even know if people even know if you notice it, even notice this. Okay. This is the median income, 31,000. Okay. We're gonna go to a calculator on Google because it pisses me off when people don't see how this works. So here we go. Average household is $50,000. I'm gonna type in 50,000, 50,000. Uncle Sam takes 30%. Okay, that's where that point 0.3 comes from. That's $15,000 goes in taxes. Now this could be in FICA, this could be in all this other stuff, Social Security, all the stuff that's taken out of your check throughout the year. Okay. Now, let's do some quick math. We have our 50,000, which was our gross, minus the 15,000 in taxes and FICA and everything else. It leaves you with 35,000. All right. Now, ironically, this is hella convenient and hella close to this 31,000. Okay. So we got that. Now, back on the calculator. Your employer says, "Hey, listen, we're gonna do a match. As long as you go ahead and put in 2% of your salary, my golly, we're going to match that 2%. Or you put in your 3%, my golly, we're going to match your 3%. But here's the thing. It wouldn't matter a rat's ass if you put in 10%. You want to know why? 10% of 50,000 is 5 grand. So we're just going to subtract that $5,000. All right. So that means that the average person is now going to have to live off of, or the average household has to live off of $30,000. That's mortgage. That's the car. That's daycare, that's school, that's gas, that's electricity, that's the fuel, that's your insurance. It's all coming out of that 30,000. If I divide that by 12, That is how much the average person, that average household is living off of. 2,500. Now
I'm
it
sorry.
gets worse. It gets worse because if you do choose to put in $5,000 into your retirement account, right? And you're like, oh, I could be so I'm getting 5,000 in my retirement account. The average person does not work. Let's I'll let you guys see it. Average years on a job. Okay,
I would say total years on a job.
total years on job. Right. The
Okay.
average total years on the job for an employee tenure right now is 4 years. Okay, and that's not from me. That's from the Bureau of Labor Statistics.
Mm-hmm.
So you got a problem with that? Argue with them. That's from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. The last statistic was from Harvard. You got a problem with that? Argue with Harvard. Basic arithmetic tells you this. You go back and you're saying, "Oh, I'm gonna max out my 401k contribution because the IRS won't allow me to put in more than 10% of my annual salary. So I'm gonna max it out at $5,000 per year." Great. On average, you're gonna work there for 4 years. That's 20,000. Great. But let's pretend that you're gonna work there for 40 years. Okay, $5,000 times 40 for 40 is $200,000. Now look how. Let me show you guys how this adds up. Let's pretend that you work for an employer at the age of 18. Your income has remained consistent. Nothing has changed. You haven't been laid off. Haven't been fired. So now you go from the age 18 to the age 58. 40 years. You have this amount now into your 401k. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Can you touch this at 58, Hank?
No.
No. Can you pay any bills with this money?
No.
No, you can't touch it. You can touch it. You can get smacked by the IRS if you want
Oh
to.
yeah. There'll be penalties and fines.
Penalties and fines will eat that money up. So now let's say, just like this lady here, you choose to leave your job at 50. She can't touch that money. She can't touch it. She can't touch it at 53. She needs to be daggone near 62 and a half years old to actually touch that money without a tax penalty. Now, here's what's so crazy about this. And go back. It's because it's basic arithmetic. $200,000. You're finally able to draw upon it at 62 and a half. Yes, I can touch it. I can have access to it. It is mine, right? Your cost for the last 40 years, you've been accustomed to living off of a $50,000 income. So what does that mean? Well,
4 years.
what's the math?
4 years.
Divided by $50,000.
4 years.
I can only live comfortably for 4 years. Yeah, because that's basic arithmetic. Because that's what this is. She could only live comfortably enough for 3 years. Why? Because it's basic arithmetic, guys. Now, if you can add 1 + 1 and 2 + 2 and multiply, you know that the 401k is not going to save you. And that's why we see so many times at that junction in time that someone goes ahead and gets a second career or a second job because that's basic arithmetic.
Mm-hmm.
So now knowing this, because here's what would have happened if she would have began to invest in real estate in year 2 or year 3 or year 10 or year 20 of her career with that company while she was making 50,000. The $15,000 that the government was taking, with the IRS was taking for taxes, it would have dwindled down to 12,000. And then the next investment property that she would have purchased, or the next business that she would have become a partner in, it would have lowered her tax liability to where it would have been 10,000 a year, and then eventually it would have been 5,000 a year in taxes. And now she's able to take home more money. But what's even better than that is if she would have reached out to someone like us and we would have educated her on self-directed accounts. These are accounts that allow you to purchase real estate. allows you to purchase a business. It allows you to purchase alternative investments. It allows you to purchase cryptocurrency if you want, and you can put
Mm-hmm.
all those gains into those accounts tax free.
I think you've told them too much because they don't. Here's the deal. Here's the deal. There are those who will say, I don't believe him, or it can't be true. And in some instances, it's because of the level of their education or knowledge or understanding. Leland, I'm
Right?
going to say something that's going to sound somewhat racist, but someone will say, no, it doesn't work because of who's presenting the information.
That's true. Some will.
Some
Some,
won't.
yeah,
Somewhere, some will. So why should we worry?
absolutely. In that metaphor story of a man floating on his raft as he passed someone else who was on their roof during a hurricane, and he said, "Hey, you can hop on in. We're going to safety." And the person said, "Oh no, 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 I'm fine. It's okay. I'll be all
God's
right.
gonna God's
God,
gonna save me.
you got it." And when you meet him, because you're gonna meet him before I do. When you meet him, you tell him I said, you tell them I said hello, and you tell him that I tried to help. You tell him to send my blessings because I tried to help you
Mm, mm,
as you
mm.
were sitting on your roof. And
I,
and that's all I'm gonna say in reference to
yeah,
today.
and I'll just say, please, please, I implore you, get out of your own way and look at the possibilities. And you can go talk to your brother-in-law or your sister-in-law or your best friend or what have you. And if they're not doing what we're talking about today, 5 years from now, you'll be at the same place that you are right now, closer to the waterfall, without an escape route. And we're not trying to frighten you. We're trying to inform you so that there's still time for you to take control of your life and leave a legacy.
That's right. That's right.
That's all.
That's it.
And Leland, but I also know that people say, well, listen, my mom and dad didn't leave me nothing. My grandparents didn't leave me nothing. So I'm not going to leave my kids anything.
Whew.
I, so
Whew.
those are the type we can't help.
Mm-mm.
So this has been we've hit a lot of stuff today, Leland.
Real quick, we have, and I just want to say this before we log out. There are a lot of factors that we as people cannot control. We can't control all the factors with governments. We can't control the war, all that stuff.
Hmm.
What we need to do is look and see what is available in arm's length and control the things that you can. Do not worry
Wow.
about the things that you cannot control.
Control. Yeah, that's true.
Do not worry because that will put you in a frenzy. That will cause you to panic.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
the mind is not meant to bear stress.
Mm-mm.
So we're talking about finances, and remember, a lot of the opportunities in the market are built off of sporadic movement or emotional movement, as they might say.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
have a level head and look and see what you can control. One of the many things that we all can control, if we so choose, is look and see what type of alternative investments best fit you and your personality.
Yes. Yes. Do the research.
Do
Yes.
research because you're going to get more tax benefits with your alternative investments. And just figure out what's best for you. Are you someone who likes to invest in mortgages? Go for it. Do you want to be the bank? Why not? Do you want to be a private lender? Okay. Well, you want to be a real estate investor? All right. You want to be a private equity or a small private equity typhoon in your local area? Go for it.
Mhm.
You want to have part ownership in a hot dog stand? Why not? Right?
Mhm.
Look and think
Mhm.
about what best fits you and your personality. Educate yourself on that. Surround yourself with people who have knowledge, who can help you, want to see the best for you. Join Asset Builders Club so that you're able to be in a community of others. All right. Look at the Asset Builders Library. We have tons of education and videos that will help you in this journey. Join the live trainings that we have, and then you make the decision for yourself. You should know about basic arithmetic
Mhm.
what happens. You don't have to live. You don't have to live the 40 years of doing that. You can just start the additions. Just add it. Multiply by 40. And we didn't
Mhm.
include inflation. We didn't include tax hikes. Okay,
Mhm.
all those
Mhm.
things that happened. All those things would have dwindled down. But
Bottom line stuff.
yeah, we just did basic math, basic arithmetic.
Mm.
So with that being said, the link to the live training for this week is on the screen. It's also in the comments. It's a Zoom link. Feel free to register. It is free. It costs you nothing, and you're gonna be immensely encouraged, benefited, and blessed through it. So thank you guys for your time.
Hey, thank you. It's been good.